What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. This is Cliff from Roundtable Studios. Go ahead and making some animation right here for you guys. Wonder Woman versus Green Ranger, a little different than what you guys are probably used to, but I want to take something different. For the stream. This is going to be a tutorial / watch me animate type of thing. It's the first time I've ever been to a stream. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be animating a sword fight between the Green Ranger and Wonder Woman. It's a little weird, the matchup, I'm not going to lie, but it's animation, so we get to pretty much do what we want. And let me know if you guys are here in the chat. Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Rocky Ram? What's going on? Excited to be here. This is so much fun. So this is going to replace the stream, or at least the animation I had before. Before I had the link and Cloud from Final Fantasy VII go at it with their sword fights, but I'm actually going to change it up and make it these two instead. I figured it feels a little bit more, I don't know, it feels a little more different. So just wanted to play around with it. So this is going to take it right from the beginning. Everything's going to be starting off right from scratch. So I'm just going to jump right in, making some, how do you call it? Making some poses. Let's see. Let's get this started. Yeah. Well, it's not gonna be a to answer any questions, this is not gonna be a real battle like between a Power Ranger and a how do you call it? A Power Ranger and the Amazon, I guess. This is just a tutorial on how to animate a fight scene. So, you know, it's, yeah, you can when are you gonna release this? That's a good question. Once I finish this, I will edit it and release it. I mean, the plan is for, I guess, maybe next week, but we shall see what the what we have in store. Okay. So the reference footage I'm going to be using is going to be from it's going to be from Geralt versus Renfrey from Witcher, right? So it's going to be that fight that they had in the in episode 1 or 2, I believe it was. So if you guys have seen the battle, you guys know I'm getting the reference from. Now I'm going to make some space for me because I can't really maneuver my camera if I can't see anything. So, release date. Yeah, this is just going to be a tutorial. So, this is going to be, I'm expecting for next week, but we shall see. Let's see, let's go ahead and move some of the stuff out the way just so I can see what's going on. I'm gonna give them a floor to stand on. Something to stand on real quick. And the program I'm using is Autodesk Maya. So that's going to be something that is my particular program of choice. But let's go ahead right into the pose. So I don't want to play too much footage from this. I'm going to get copyrighted from Netflix. But this is going to be the sword fight that I'm going to be using. It's going to be, Geralt versus Renfrey. And it's going to be this whole interaction right here. So sync that up with your own footage. Hopefully you guys have that. Let's see. So we're gonna start blocking, and our blocking is our first phase. Blocking out into poses. Oops. Okay, this is Hey, what's going on? Mugen Animations. So glad to finally catch Forrest. Of course. Nice to see you here too. If you have any questions, let me know. You know, it's just so fun to go ahead and take this time to really start streaming and showing you guys a little bit of just my personal process. You know, I can't say this is the process of experts, but this just happens to be what I use, or how I particularly get what I need to get done. Kind of move this in place. All right, so what I'm doing here is putting the sword in place and just getting ready to, you know, have her set into the first pose here. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jet? What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Animating a sword fight tutorial using Green Ranger and Wonder Woman. For everyone watching the chat, let me know where you guys are watching from. Let me go what country you guys are at. Please just see exactly where you guys are coming from. Cool. Hey, Iris Black, your work ethic is really tough. All right, thank you. I think that's a compliment, right? I appreciate that.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Let's see, bring this in much more. She looks a little blind right now, but I'm gonna fix her eyes in a second. Hey, India's in the house. What's going on? Hey, Indonesia, Ghana's in the house. I really enjoy watching your videos on fight teams. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means so much. her eyes are somewhere. Where are her eyes? Here, there. Let's bring these right up. You do great work. Thank you so much, Power Crunch. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. About how long did it take you to set these rigs up? I don't set up rigs. I do one or two things. I either get them custom rigs, or I use Mixamo.com. Mixamo.com is a free rigging source to rig 3D models. It doesn't. It has some limitations. It can't. It's just not the greatest. So I know, let's say for Wonder Woman was custom rigged. Wonder Woman was custom rigged by my colleague, I guess, Lee Bicker. He's great. He's done most of my rigs for anything entering Unreal Engine, and over the past 2 years. And Green Ranger here is rigged with Mixamo. So Mixamo does much more simple rigs, no facial, no anything like that. But but I did make some modifications to it just to be able to make it a little bit easier than that. Have you seen the Astartes series? I heard it was made by one guy. Yes, I have seen that. It is very, very well made, very well done, and it's possible to do it with with one person. You know, a lot of things that you see online or in the industry and things like that, if you put a lot of time into it, it's very possible to create a lot of amazing work. You know, even if you haven't seen Astartes, there's another one, Superman versus Hulk. That's also done by that whole series is done by one person, and it's, you know, it looks very professional, very realistic, and all that sorts. But that's awesome. You know, that they'll take the time to just do one particular project that, you know, that they'll release online. So that's just something that I wish I could do. You know, if I had the time to go ahead and only focus on one project for years, and to be you know, thankful that it comes out to that same standard is pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, what's going on from Taiwan? It's middle of the day in Taiwan. Nice. It is the middle of the night. I'm coming from the East Coast in the U.S., so it is late. The textures in that dude's videos are insane. Yep. Yeah, it's yeah, he did a lot of work. That's a lot of work happening in that video. A lot of work. I watched it a couple of times too, you know, and it just makes sense that it takes some years and months just to create like 2 or 3 minutes of video. He's obviously very, very talented to even know, and the artistry to be able to come up with, you know, with those type of videos. So it's amazing. And I forget, of course, the animation too, because everything, you felt everything, every gunshot, every missile, all the telekinesis and everything like that, you feel it. Let's see. So I like this as a beginning pose. I may want to angle this arm in a little bit more. Okay, that's better. I'm trying to get into 2D animations, but it's just as hard as 3D. Yep. Yeah. 2D and 3D both have their benefits and their challenges. So something that you think is very, you know, like, oh man, 2D, you don't have to worry about this. You can do this. You can use any character, draw any character or whatever, you know, whereas, you know, 3D has its own, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, deformations and, you know, just making the character always look the same every single frame, and, you know, all of that. That can just done for you. But, you know, whichever one you feel the most comfortable at is the one I would say to do. Now, Tommy's going to be a little weird here because Tommy has a sword and a dagger, which the reference video The girl has one too, but he the rig initially came with a sword, but the sword was just massive, so I'm gonna have to be using this sword. Let's see what we got. Let's get this out the way. Get more animation screen. Ooh, does not look good at all. Oh, the dagger's on the right hand? Oh, look at that. That's the wrong hand. It should be... Oh no, the dagger's supposed to be on the left hand. Right, because this is the small sword. So... And don't mind if I'm talking to myself when I animate. That seems to be... I am alright. That just seems to be the way how I get through things. Sometimes you gotta talk it out with yourself. You know, if you're talking to yourself, the way I always see it, if you're talking to yourself, you know, there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. It's when you start getting answers from questions you ask yourself is usually when the problems happen. Let's see. Let's put him in position. Almost there. I am gonna make this a little bit more appealing to the eye, actually. That's not to necessarily distract myself, but let's see. See, we'll do, just to make things a little bit interesting, I'm going to add some light into the scene. Just to kind of give it some life here, let's do... keep it fun. Hello, this Roundtable Studios the company. Yes, this is me. Are you using storyboard as a guide? Yes, Iris. I am using a reference, which is, I guess, it acts as the same thing. I'm using Geralt versus Renfri from The Witcher as a guide to a fight scene. So what I'm particularly doing is going to be animating this scene and then going to be breaking down the pieces of it when the actual tutorial comes out about, you know, when you're creating your own fight scene, what to look for and what to necessarily do at the same time. That way when you're making your own fight scene, you kind of have an idea of how to do so. Hey, what's going on, Sunil? You gonna ask me if I need voice actors? Alright. So we're adding a little bit of light to this scene. I think that's good. Blue. This would be 5. And this would be awesome. All right. Curves. Sweet. I mean, it'll get the job done for now, but at least it looks better than what we had before, right? This is what we had before, and this is what it looks like now, which is good. That's fine. Does Aaron direct the Super Beatdown? He sure does. No, decision is definitely not mine. He is, and the green is doing a little bit much here. I'll change it. Changing the green to yeah, we'll give it something so it's are they dueling Angel Grove or Themyscira? Actually I don't know. Well, the area I kind of just picked a what's it called? I kind of picked this environment that's just kind of like a medieval city. I don't know. I just kind of like putting characters in weird situations and just making cool animations out of it. So I don't know. Well, if you find in my on my Instagram, I have some animations where it's characters that are just fighting each other that necessarily don't really make sense, and for me that's a little bit of the fun. Ooh, made everyone disappear. Let's see. Let's remove this. But yeah, it's just having fun and making the things before. Have I worked in Cinema 4D? No, mostly I do Maya and Unreal Engine. I've done only some work. Like I've done some things in Blender. I don't particularly enjoy it. It's just different. It's just a different program, so I'm not used to it. But Maya is pretty much where I spend most of my time. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Whoop. Not what I wanted. Sweet. Okay. Oh, nope, not what I wanted. Just wanted to use this. Music animation. So you animate in Maya and do post-production work in Unreal. That is exactly what I do. Yep. What do you call it? I am used to working in Maya, and though Maya can do everything Unreal can do, it's it's obviously a full comprehensive program, and it's used for a lot of things in the industry. To this day, I just particularly, I guess, personally, I don't think I have the skills in order to be able to create things to that same level. So I found that using Unreal Engine is a little bit easier, particularly for me to create some high level or I guess high quality animation instead of trying to figure it out in Maya. Would you ever do animation for Death? I'd like to reach out to you or contacted. Yeah, I've actually I wouldn't mind working for Death Battle again. I know that they changed their their formula recently with the new season. So they're particularly using everything more so in-house. They're not doing any more TVXs anymore. I know that a lot of people, not just only just me, but a lot of people that were working with them, is no longer working with them anymore, or they, they're really sticking to like a few key people and giving them most of the animation work. So I have no problem working with them again. It was a really fun time working with them. They have my email, that's for sure. When do you decide when to use FK, when to use IK? That's a great question, Ian Johnson. Welcome to the chat, by the way. FK I use for mostly everything for the hands, right? So if you're using any type of movement or anything like that, it makes it so much easier to use FK because you get to move everything from the top, bottom. Now, IK you usually use as far as any type of center of gravity. So if you're moving this and I need to go ahead and move my character, it makes more sense that my feet stay going to the ground. So same thing, if I were to use a handstand where the Green Ranger or anybody really were to be on their hands and the feet were in the air, the hands, I would change into IK, where the feet I would change into FK. So someone like Spider-Man, who isn't necessarily touching the ground often, the only time I would necessarily use IK is for contact poses. I had a question, which is better to learn, Maya or Blender? The answer to that question is Blender, technically. I know I particularly use Maya, but if anyone is starting out in animation or wants to learn animation, I say use Blender. One, it's free. That's mostly a major reason. Two, there's so much tutorials out there on how to create Blender, high quality Blender renderings and things like that. It's a great it's just a good program to learn, just to give you some high quality stuff. I particularly use Maya just because that's just what I'm used to, and for me to relearn Blender just because just wouldn't make any sense. So I just continue using Maya. Now let's move on into another pose here. You guys asked some great questions. I am really excited. This is so awesome. So let's see. Let's move to the next pose. That way it actually is doing something here. So you can see some animation instead of the same pose. Okay. So let's move down to here. All right. So from here, she's gonna be lunging forward. Let's see. Learn Unreal, learn Blender. It's free. Unreal is really butting heads with Maya in animations. Yeah. Unreal is pretty good. Unreal is free. Yes, Unreal is free. Yeah, it usually comes down to visual preference. Yep, yeah, moving animations is pretty much get it down right. You know, you pretty much can learn any program to professional quality or capacity. You know, it's really down to personal preference. I really like using Unreal Engine, and I really enjoy their post processing ways of doing things versus Maya. So I know that's why I gravitate towards it. But you know, a lot of people using Blender, so I would just say go with that. Green Ranger for the win. Okay, I mean it's a tutorial, but yeah. Let's see. How hard is compositing 3D into live action footage? That's a very, very good question. It is depending on the. It really depends on a lot of different factors. I know that when I did it I did it twice, both for Ismahawk. I did their Megazord versus Voltron, and I did their first-person Iron Man, right? They did a first-person Iron Man where Iron Man was flying around the city, and you can see everything from their visor. And I believe when Iron Man had the reflection into the building, you know, I did the animation for that, and that was pretty fun. It has its challenges. It has its challenges, and it really depends on the shots and if things are green screened properly, because it's, you know, for me, it's just more adding a certain part. So I really know that, you know, the guys at Ismahawk, well, Danny mostly had to worry about really trying to put it together. But, you know, you had to do everything to a fixed shot. So usually I'm used to doing things with a camera that is not look good. I'm used to doing everything with a camera, so now to try to animate things without a camera is very different if you're not used to it. So, but no, it was fun. You know, I can't say it wasn't, but it has its challenges. It really depends on what you have to work with. So that was a very good question, Sunil. I hope I'm really saying your name right. Oxycoded. Whenever I try to do keyframing, I always get messed up with the keyframing. Sometimes it goes really fast, moves are really slow. Yes, and that really depends on your timing. So that's where having a good reference comes into play. So what you really want to do is examine your reference and examine how long certain things take. That's not what I wanted to do. And once you really examine how long things take, you can understand exactly the speed on why some things take shorter to take than others. So, okay, so that's my little stab there. There's some cleaning that needs to be done, but it is done. Would you say you're biased to battles for others or your own? Would you say you're biased to battles for others or your own? What do you mean by that? Explain that to me. I'm curious. I want to answer your question. I'm just a little confused. What you mean by that? Ian Johnson, do you make your own models or do you download them from somewhere online? I download all my models from somewhere online. I am not a modeler. I am not going to claim that I model this whatsoever. There's a lot of free archives online on where you can find a lot of free models that you can do it. It's just mostly the issue with it is that they're not rigged. So if you want to use them in your program, you're gonna have to rig them yourself. That's usually now the limitation of what it is. And sometimes actually that's not true. Sometimes they are rigged, but if you don't have the program that the person who created the models used, then you pretty much have to rig it from scratch. And almost nobody has it for Maya, so I have to rig it from scratch. But there are some resources. Are these XNA models? These are models converted with, I believe, XNA. I use Blender though. for these models. So my models, I find them online, but I convert them using Blender. So that's my experience with Blender, is converting these models. Let's see. Sun Ill. Okay, Sun Ill. Gotcha. Would you ever consider animating original content? Yes, Dennis Fields, I would. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Yes, I would definitely consider animating original content for sure. I think that's, we all would prefer animating original content. It's just that everyone wants to see the fan art, So I think that once, I even have a couple of ideas, and I think we all as artists have some ideas of what content we would want to make. And I definitely have some ideas of what animations I would like to create, but I'm not at a level yet. I think that I feel comfortable creating my own content. I still want to animate a lot more and, create a lot more comprehensive animations. And once I do, then expect to see some original animations. I am just adjusting the Green Ranger here because I realize that he's a little bit too far away from Wonder Woman. So I am going to adjust him. I see most 2D animations utilizing 3D for backgrounds in camera and using frame-by-frame drawings for characters. Yes. That does make things easier instead of having to redraw the same background over and over and over again. So to make things easier, that way everything's consistent. They use 3D backgrounds because I don't really necessarily think that a lot of things influence their artistic decision, the backgrounds, depending on what they're using it in. So they're able to do that, and then they have full control over the characters because that's usually what the main focus on anyway. Perfect. So he's getting ready to go ahead and block this attack, but we're going to move him because now he is super forward now. Let's see. You think a person wins a battle from your reasons or perspective, or a person wins okay, so would you say you're biased to battles for others or your own? Do you think a person wins a battle from your reasons or perspective? Well, no, I usually do, if you're asking for my battles, I do fan voting. So I have a poll on I believe my Instagram and my Patreon, I believe. So I let people vote. I don't want to do anything about like the way Death Battle does, where I try to explain who should win. I'm not. They got that down. I am not gonna try to impede onto what they do. I am not with it. It is not my forte. I just want to animate them. Let's see. So, okay. So now we got another post here. So, I usually do fan voting to really determine it. Maybe I want a character to win. Sometimes I even do voting for what battles I want to do. And whoever wins the poll is the battle I did. I think that's what happened with Cloud versus Link. So I usually do it on that end. And let's see, this is a great stream. Awesome. Hey, what's going on, David? Welcome to the stream. Caught your IG video, dope stuff. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Ian, I don't want to mess with your link. How would you go about adding effects such as sparks or dust? Well, I use Unreal Engine for my post-processing effects. So particles and dust is just a plugin. So all I do is just plug in my particles and dust, maybe change around the colors and the speed of it, and once it's done. Like if I had to do that same thing in Maya, it would be a way different workflow That would be way too complicated. But Unreal Engine, it's just really a drag and drop. You know, move the sparks and the dust to where you want them to be. You know, I believe you have some settings, you can animate them, and then you just put them in the scene, time it like you would a character. It's pretty simple, actually. Well, simple once you figure it out, I should say, because I remember when I first tried to do it, it was a pain. Believe that. Believe that it was. Let's see. Yeah, I keep going over here, and I don't know why. When you follow the fight scenes for other media as reference, do you go them by frame, or do you have them playing in the video and script timeline as you need? Very good question. That does not sound weirdy. Now, this is where I probably is a little bit more, I don't know if it's controversial, it's just different. I don't go by frame. I definitely do not do that. I've tried to do that in some of my past animations. You can tell. It's too static. You are trying to recreate something frame by frame, so it becomes too much. It becomes to the point where it's like you are not really, you're just really more concentrated on copying. It's almost like tracing. You know what I mean? Like, so imagine if you're an artist, like you're drawing something on pen and paper, and you're trying to trace it. You're more focused on making sure that all the lines match up and all the things in the same way, versus you looking at an image and you trying to recreate it on your own. You know, so it's not going to come out the same, but at least it comes out the way that you kind of envisioned it. You know what I mean? So it looks the same, but it's not going to give you the same type of pressure. So that's what I do. When I animate, I'm using the poses, I'm using the flow of it, a little bit from the reference, but what I try not to do is do anything frame by frame, because you're only leading yourself to more work than it really needs to be. On top of that, it's not even gonna look the right way. So that looks good. So look at that. So now Green Ranger comes in, and brings it down. So now we need Wonder Woman's reaction shot. So let's bring this down to 50 so you can actually see all the frames here. If you want great stock footage, go to production, create FX elements, video copilot. Yep, those are good. And those are good for some sparks and stuff. I believe that's probably what your Sunil, right? Like you're talking about. For that, they're just they do live action. It's good for live action for sure. I haven't necessarily used it for 3D just because I know that I particularly use Unreal Engine, and it has most of the stuff already in it, and it's already gonna look good because it's gonna be 3D. Because a lot of these elements, unless you know how to use them correctly, which I would have to learn, they're 2D elements on top, so you would have to try to like make them look 3D. So I know Bat in the Sun for sure uses them. I know a lot of other live action creators have used those effects, and it looks good for sure onto them. But when you use 3D effects in the 3D scene, it's a completely different. It looks completely different. Looks a lot more natural because the lighting matches, everything matches. So if I do anything in After Effects, Compositing After Effects, it's lighting, editing. It's gonna be brightness and contrast, hue, saturation, matching the lighting, making sure to do like any cool text effects or anything like that, but not any like actual special effects, which I'm sure I could just use Premiere for. Actually, now that I'm talking about it, I just am so used to using After Effects. Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna want to get her to open her mouth and a little bit more. I'm gonna move this. Okay. and then get her weight to go opposite up. I mean, if someone tries to do a fight series and try to explain why a character should win, I don't think that would impede on death, but other people can do a versus series as long as it's not. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you do a series where you are explaining who anyone wins, yes, I mean it's the internet. Ain't no one can do it, and it's not necessarily impeding onto them or anything like that. It's just that I particularly don't feel like I have the knowledge or the research. Like, say if I were to actually look up, like, and not, let's just say Green Ranger versus Wonder Woman. To look up the Green Ranger's feats and his thing, like his attributes, his abilities, and all the stuff that he's done, in the show, and Wonder Woman, all the things that she's done. I'm more interested on just animating the fight based off of what I guess I know they can do versus who could win. That's the reason why I said that mostly, just because I don't particularly want to do a fight series like that, so I keep everything kind of fan voted. But that's particularly me. Are you still figuring out lighting and texturing? No, the lighting, I'm doing the lighting here just to kind of keep things interesting, but it looks like it's really just I don't know, do you guys really, does it matter? I know it's about the same. I can go back and forth between it, so you probably even notice that this is unlit, this is lit, but no. No, and will you get better at facial lip sync? I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. That's the that's the plan. Just because, as you get better in animation, hopefully everything comes with it too. So that's the plan. Let's see. Bring it here. Guys are actually some great questions. Yeah, hey, what's going on? Alright, this is Kushagra? I hope I'm saying it right. I'm 13, I love your animation videos. I work in Blender, and now I'm thinking to shift to Maya. I mailed you my animation. Please tell me how to improve it. Yeah, I believe I saw it. Believe it or not, I did see your animation. Welcome to the stream, by the way. And yeah, I believe you did the Black Panther, right? The Black Panther's, the superhero landing, right? It was a Black Panther superhero landing you sent me, and Black Panther superhero landing, and it was good. It was good, especially if that's one of your first animations. You're 13. That actually wasn't that bad. I would, if you are in Blender, I would stick to Blender though. Granted, now I know I work in Maya. So as much as I would say, drop Blender and switch to Maya, I just think that for beginner animators, it's probably better to use Blender. That's just me. Especially the way the industry is going, it looks like Blender's making its way to becoming an industry, I don't know about industry standard, but it's going to be an industry alternative very, very soon, just the way things are going. I don't know how long, but maybe by the time, for sure, I would like to hope that by the time you're able to, get your skills up and work, I would imagine Blender would have, become, and just in case you want to work in the field, you'll be able to do and do that. But if you want to work with Maya, that's fine. But I would say stick to Blender. There's a lot of tutorials online that can make it look very, very good. What's going on, Fanvax? Welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. Would you hire fight choreography to film for reference? Not at the moment, just because there's so much choreography online. Like the way what I do is when I make my choreography, how I usually do it, and I would like to make a video on this one day, is I kind of imagine, like, say if it's an actual fight like this, I'm just going to use one reference. I'm not going to do anything particular, anything crazy. It's not necessary to go ahead and do that for this animation. But for, let's say, like, Cloud versus Link, what I did for Wonder Wonder Woman versus what do you call it, Captain Marvel, what I did was I kind of had an idea on how the animation was going to lay out. So once I had an idea of how the animation actually was going to lay out, what I did was I found the references that actually went with my idea. So it's a lot more searching, because it's like you watch all these references. Oh, no, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. So technically it would be easier, right, if you just got someone to be like, okay, no, this is what I want to do, versus you trying to look on the internet to really find out exactly what you need to do. But I figure I can just search. It's free. It's free. I have the time. You could do it on your lunch break or whatever, or whenever you're just browsing around. So what I usually do is anytime I'm watching like a fight scene or anything that I'm like, oh man, this looks really cool, I save the video or the clip into like, I have like a drive full of like reference folders and just animation references or fight references. And anytime I need like, oh, I need a front flip for this part, I'll just go online, look up a front flip of what I've seen. So say like the Wonder Woman slide that she does. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I know I can look up from the trailer that slide that she does in order to do that part. So I kind of like, do a collage of different references from different movies or choreographies, and I kind of put it together to make my own choreography. So, let's see. I love the chibi Black Panther icon. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really like Black Panther. That's if you haven't noticed, in my Instagram or my images, it's just kind of like a yeah. I just really like the suits. I really like the character. He's just a cool looking dude. So I kind of like to incorporate Black Panther to be I guess a constant all over my channels. Do you outsource anything for your animation or videos? The only thing I've outsourced is definitely I've outsourced rigging for sure. Absolutely. God, I can't stand it. I've definitely outsourced rigging. I just, I'm not in the business of trying to learn how to rig. And what else have I outsourced? I've outsourced rendering before. I've done that just because at the time I was using my laptop. My laptop could not handle the rendering, so I had to go ahead and outsource that for sure. I've outsourced rendering, rigging for sure. Modeling, I guess. The Megazord vs. Voltron, they're modeled, right? They're custom modeled. So anything not animation, I've probably outsourced at least once before, but not necessarily often. I love working in After Effects. I'm hoping to learn Cinema 4D. Even the guy at Quarters use it for videos. Yeah. The guys at Quarter, they're just next level. So if that's what anything, I've seen some amazing Cinema 4D. Even there's a couple of those Star Wars animations that look really, really good in cinema. So definitely. Do you know how to fight yourself? I've taken classes, not for animation, but I think that's one of the tips that I would say for anyone who wants to learn animation. I would say fight animation. Take either or fight classes, like say it could be MMA, it could be boxing. Boxing would just do fine instead of doing a whole MMA course, but maybe like a kickboxing course, just so you can learn about chambering and how it's one thing to watch it, but when you have your body to use it, especially extending your arms, making sure your elbows are not locked, feet placement, you really start to really absorb those things a lot better when you know how to do them yourself. But that, and I actually would recommend dance lessons too. Believe it or not, like especially when you hear a lot of times like fight choreography is almost like dancing sometimes, and once you understand like a rhythm and a flow of dancing, then it's almost the same. I've taken some dance classes as well. And you know, you're like, oh wow, like this is almost like, you know, putting the rhythm together. And when you hear music, it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool, this is you start to imagine choreographies when you start hearing music. And I believe that's one thing that if you guys are familiar with Mati Om, he was a dancer as well, and he would choreograph his fight scenes to music. So if you're able to, I would say for sure pick up some any type of martial arts lessons or dance lessons. That would definitely do you some good and give you some extra insights to your animations. Are you planning to start any animation challenges for your subscribers in the future? I don't know if it's the first time someone's asked me about it. I didn't think anyone was interested, so I was gonna make that like one of those long-term I guess things I wanted to do. I kept it on the back end of my channel. You know, nothing but you know, that's definitely something I wanna do and offer prizes and things like that. But you know, once I get more people, you know, once I get more people to code, you know, to bring it on. If not, also, Ian, I'm not sure if you're in my Discord. Definitely join in the Discord. If you know, because that way I connect with a lot of my people, you know, my guys who are animators. So if you, there she is. I'm looking for my eyes here. If you want to start an animation challenge, let me know. Maybe I can see a couple people from the Discord be willing to go. That would have to wait, you know, until later. You know, that way at least it can be something that we can start now, because that would be fun. Let's see. So we're going here. Let's see. All right, it's we're working here, making moves. All right. Okay, I'm just looking at, sorry if I'm quiet, I'm just looking and observing to make sure I get everything good. Let's see. Yep, I did the Black Panther and things. First time someone actually replied. And how to get character rig except Mexico, because we don't get the textures for Blender. The textures, Mixamo doesn't provide textures. It just does the, how do you call it? It just does the model itself. You can still apply the textures afterwards. So I know, because when I use Mixamo, the textures aren't there either. So what I have to do is I have to go ahead and eventually put the textures in myself manually. So what I would suggest so you should still be able to use the textures. Now, as far as other things besides Mixamo, there's a couple. You know, it depends on you know, if you're using Blender. I know that there's like Rigify, I believe. Anyone who's in Blender, you know, let me know. Hey, what's going on, Mugen? All right, you know, thank you for coming. I appreciate you staying in the stream. You know, stay safe and good night. And but to go back, Sunil, go back, Kushagra, right? That was on your question. Yeah, I believe there's a couple of auto rigs out there that you're able to go ahead and use for why is this not working? For Blender, so you can definitely look those up. I just particularly don't know of them. Mixamo is the only one that I have used. That's an auto rig. I've tried some other ones, and some of the other ones still require to use a lot of work. Like maybe it might do it may do the rigging part of it. Like it'll do like the setting up the joints and things like that, but you still have to do weight paint, so the painting of the weights aren't good. I've just found that Mixamo has done the best weight painting automatically for you compared to other rigs. It's still not perfect, and it's definitely not like, oh, this is great, you can go ahead and, you know, do great animation with this. The Green Ranger, this Green Ranger is Mixamo rigged, but I had to make adjustments because this, let's say this chest plate, when I move in my arm here, you know, the chest plate's not supposed to move. When I regular Mixamo, this whole thing was moving when I moved the arm, you know, and it's not supposed to. Like here, you know, I try not to move it as much because technically it's not really supposed to move because it's supposed to be static. But I'm gonna kind of do some like animation, like hiding. I'm not gonna make it too obvious, but I had to kind of isolate it just so it didn't necessarily yeah, so that's good. But just, yeah, to answer your question, I use Mixamo. I think it looks good. There's other stuff out there, but I just don't particularly know how good those are. So let's see. Yeah, Rigify, right? So you guys are saying, right? Let's see. Goodbye, everyone. Keep practicing, keep working hard. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate it. If you're using Blender, I recommend using Rigify to rig your mouse. It's free. Awesome. Could you make a video on how to bring back the textures in Blender when you import it back into Blender and Rigify is not so good? Yeah, you actually, yeah. Well, you know, if anyone doesn't know, I don't like using Blender. I barely know how to use it. You're probably better off just, and I'm just being honest, like just looking at a tutorial somewhere online on how to put textures onto a character. I know Blender Guru, he has got some great tutorials on how to put textures on, so maybe that's probably one of the better ways. I would say this, and this is the reason why like I think that Blender is good for beginners. It's just one of those programs that I think would be able to answer all of your questions online. So I don't know if I'd be able to answer that one for you. I am sorry. My guy David. You mentioned earlier you took dance classes. What kind of dance classes? I took the Latin salsa classes. I took that, which pretty much gave me a good beat on rhythm, timing, musicality, anything like those to really get a good sense of choreography. So now, how do you rig a model so it stays above the floor? You can't. That's up to the animator. You know, because the floor is pretty much whatever you make it. There's no way the computer can know that this is not the floor. You know, all I know is that once I hide this, it doesn't know what the floor is, doesn't know what's going on. You know, there's no way for it to know. That it's up to an animator to know that it's the animator's job for you. It's the animator's job for them to make you believe that the character's actually standing there. If the foot goes through the floor, then the animator's not doing a good job. So that is their job. Let's see. Let's go back now a couple frames. No, I think it looks good, right? So now we're gonna mess with a camera. We're gonna put a camera in just to kind of like get a flow of what's going on here. And for everyone in the chat, actually, there's 2 live streams that I'm doing, right? I'm doing this one, and I'm doing one with Ruby, where I'm remaking the Ruby trailer. Let me know if you want to see both this coming week, or would you rather just see the one? You know, I'm just kind of trying to get a fix on what you guys want to see. If you guys just doesn't matter, just want to keep me seeing live streaming, or would you rather me stick to one or the other? Just kind of trying this live stream out thing a bit more than usual, just because, you know, why not? A lot of us are home, so I might as well take advantage of all this this free time that I have. So now, while you guys are answering that question, I am gonna go ahead and set the camera up. I'm gonna make it similar to what the reference is, but a good thing to learn, you know, is the rule of thirds. Like right now, I have Wonder Woman on one side, and then I have Green Ranger on the other. So what I'm particularly doing is trying to make sure I keep that line of action the same. So what I'm gonna do is move the camera, just rotate it a bit. What I do like about this is I'm gonna be kind of like keeping the same type of cut here. And then gonna keep this frame here, move this back a bit, right, move this back, rotate him here, just something simple, right? So move, okay, it's gonna have to reload. So she goes for a step and he kind of like deflects it, you know, boom. It's very choppy, very awkward, but right now we're just going ahead and putting in the we're just putting in the poses right now just to kind of get it, but it will get clearer as the time goes on. Let's see. Yep, Ian Johnson, you may have to bring the characters back using the shade editor. Yeah, that's what I figured. What's going on, Ravens? Raven? Hi, what's going on? Do you know particle and physics simulations? Nope, I do not. I just know animation. I don't even try to figure that out. No modeling, no texturing, no rigging, definitely no rigging. Particle simulations, all of that. Fig simulations, nope, don't want to learn it, do not want to learn it, just animation. I just do that and then let everyone else or any other presets go into effect. The only thing I probably learn a little bit of is more so is is lighting. That's the only thing besides lighting. I want to know nothing else. Let's see. Okay. Oh, there it is. I was wondering why it looked weird. Back here. Let's see. Blender user here. Extremely confused as to what I'm looking at. I'm thinking about trying out Maya somewhere down the line. Yeah. Yeah. No. This is just. Yeah. This is just Maya. It's probably a little confused, a little different. I'm trying to keep it very not similar to most 3D animations. So I'm not trying to keep any of the like all the stuff on the top and all the stuff on the bottom. I don't really necessarily want to, you know, alienate any people that don't use Maya about using them. So a lot of the stuff I'm using is just controls, which I'm assuming is in Blender. I would like to hope so. Right, it's controls on the characters and the characters themselves, right, and the timeline. The timeline is definitely in Blender. I've seen it, and controls on characters so I can move in. So any other types of, you know, Maya specific things I need to do, I'll definitely do it after or off stream. So, but I will do is that when I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bring this into Unreal. When I do bring this into Unreal, I will make a stream or video about it. That way you guys can see that process as well. You know, I've made a couple of videos on my Unreal Engine process, but it's always good to go ahead and, you know, show it on a brand new fresh scene. Let's see what we got here. And please make a video on how to manually bring texture to model after mix using Hypershade. I believe I didn't do that. No, I never done that in, but I know you want it for Blender, which I don't know how to do. So it's gonna be tough for me to make a tutorial on something that I know for sure I don't know how to do. You know, so I'm saying, like, definitely look up online for that, because I know I don't know how to do that. And so now Tommy is hit, steps down, goes back, and readies his pose, right? So Tommy's looking pretty good. It's just Princess here, first of all. What's going on, KD Visuals? Blender versus Maya, what is best? The best one is whatever you can make yourself the best in. I know it's a cop-out answer, but it's the truth, you know? But I would say use Blender. Use Blender. Blender's always the easier answer. Totally irrelevant question, but for the sake of the conversation, what's your favorite Marvel movie so far? That's a great question. No, believe it or not, the stream, you know, it's just to ask me anything. You know, of course, you know, we can also make it, you know, of course, on topic, which is animation, stuff like that. But feel free to ask me anything. I'm not gonna not answer the question. Favorite Marvel movie so far? That's a hard question. Favorite Marvel movie so far, man. Well, I'll let you know what the toss-up is. The toss-up for me is either Avengers, the original, right? Avengers, the original. Avengers, the original for sure. It's up there. I would say Infinity War is up there. What is between Infinity War and Avengers? You know, because I know a lot of people like, of course, Endgame, and, you know, this, of course, is a, you know, Winter Soldier is another one, but no, those aren't my favorite. But I would say, you know, to make it easier, I would say the original Avengers. I really like that movie. I can quote a lot of that movie, so, you know, I really enjoyed it. It's just my personal preference, but Infinity War is pretty close. You know, my boy Thanos is Destiny has arrived. All the same. All right, good night, Sunil. You know, hope to see you on the next stream. I appreciate you coming. Hey, Jalen, right? Jalen, I'm going with Jalen Green. I'd definitely be down for Fanimation challenges instead of prizes. How about picking your favorite submissions and critiquing them? That is a favorite. I really like that idea. I may actually steal it. I may actually steal it. I'd definitely be down for Fanimation challenge instead of prizes. How about picking your favorite submissions and critiquing them? We can start basic attacks, nothing crazy. Okay. That's actually a really good idea. That's like, it's weird. I'm like, look, I'm like, actually, that's bad. Cause I'm thinking prices, you know. So I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, like I don't know what prizes, t-shirts, merch. Like I don't know what, you know, what to do for prizes, or you know, like obviously laptops and computers, but who's got the money for that? And I didn't think I could actually, you know, be down for that. Anyone who's animator in the chat, let me know if you guys would be down for an animation challenge for a critique, you know, on the channel. I'd definitely be down for that. For basic attacks, that's cool. Alright, she's doing this like whole whirlwind and let me know. But that's a great idea, Jalen. Great idea. Thanks, sir. Hey, what's going on, Justino? Best VFX software, professional users only. Best VFX software. I mean, I know Nuke is good, right? Nuke, that's the program. She's still got some work in there. I might just move on from this and fix that later. That we're not fixing the same thing. I'm one of those animators, so let me know, of course. Well, definitely, Jalen, definitely, you know, anyone who's interested in that, definitely check, you know, join the Discord, because I will be asking them, and if I got enough responses, you know, I'm not gonna need a lot. I'm not looking for 100 people here, even like 10, you know, people who would be down to, you know, get a critique. I would do that, you know, if what's going on, Jordy Henley? If you guys are okay, all right. I think you should provide models for the challenge and see what we can do with it. Now, I would like that, Ian. The only issue with that is that everyone uses different programs. So unless you're using Maya, then I would say you can use it. But otherwise, I would probably provide the models. I can tell you what models you can use, where you can find them for free, but you would have to be responsible for rigging. Just because I don't want to exclude and make only people who know how to use Maya use the challenge, because then it'd be a very short challenge. Let's see. That's a great idea. Okay, back to the reference footage. Where am I right now? Let's see. Okay, let's do here. Houdini versus Maya. Oof, depends what you're trying to do with it. It depends on what you're trying to do with it. Let's go. Let's bring this back up here. Ah, thank you, KD Visuals. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Oof, don't want that too much. It's moving a lot of the frame there. Let's see. So if I take the camera, that gives us a little more of a okay. So it's getting there. Definitely getting there. Everything's a little bit kind of blocky right now. Let's see. Any advice for beginner 3D artists? Start slow, start small, and build up on it. Whatever you want to do, you know, it's very tempting to go ahead and go right into the cool advanced stuff. But if you're truly a beginner and you really want to take this seriously, I would say always start slow, start with something manageable, and then build your way up. You should do a Fiverr challenge. Like hire someone from Fiverr to do an animation challenge, right? Because I'll be honest, I haven't actually watched those to find out what those actually is. Is that what they do? They pay someone from Fiverr to create something for them, and they try to judge to see exactly if it's good or not, depending on how much they pay, right? I'm assuming that's what it is, based on the titles and the thumbnails. That's what it seems to be the gist of it. Let's see. Arif Hussein, you should use Blender. Ooh, no. Yeah, there's no reason for me to use Blender. What is your favorite software? I guess I'm assuming you mean just for everything. I mean, I really like Unreal Engine. Especially with what it can do. And just having fun with it, just making things look, the post-processing is all the pretty stuff that I'm having really a lot of fun time with. So I would say that right now is my favorite software for sure. If you had to, how would you go about animating a crowd? Wow, that's actually a very good question. If you had to, how would you go about animating a crowd? Whew. I feel like there's plugins for that, right? Oh boy, animating a crowd of people. Now, the obvious answer, right, is to be making S1 or 2 second idle animations, making like what, 10 of them, maybe 15 of them, and then just transferring the animations to. So that's how I would do it based off the knowledge that I have off right now in my head, without looking up ways, because I'm sure, positive, that there's ways online to make things much easier. What I would probably do is get a whole bunch of, right now, rigs that I could use with Mixamo, just because I can transfer animations with Mixamo rigs, right? So what I would then do is make 10, depending on the crowd, make 10 to 15 recycled, like, looping animations between them, like maybe 1 to 2 second, maybe 3 second animations that I'm making between those. And then once I do so, in Unreal, you're able to duplicate and copy as many models that you want and apply animation to them. So what I would probably do is get maybe even more, right? So give me a combination of, like, if I have 20, 15 animation sets, then maybe getting, like, because it really depends on the crowd here. So maybe getting 30, right? I don't know, 30 different characters, right? You could download free online or whatever. Or maybe even getting, I don't know, well, maybe not 30. 30 sounds like a lot. 7, 8, 10, I'm not really too sure. I guess a different, enough of a variety of a character set, that way it feels, different. Randomize them in the crowd, and then just apply different animations to them in the group, and it should feel like a crowd if you do that. Whether you have some of them walking, some of them, just kind of standing in their place idle, while checking their phones while they're walking, or holding hands, couple holding hands, or something like that. Depends on the scene, but that's how I would do it right now if I had to do it. I'm pretty sure I would. I'm pretty sure that there's ways to do this way faster. Do you animate full time? No, I do not. Oh, wait, no, not yet. Not yet. I like staying positive. Not yet. I don't do this full time yet. I still have a 9 to 5 job that I have to do right now, but I am working on making this my 9 to 5. Just don't tell my boss that, because he thinks I'm trying to stay there long term. You know how when, I'm not sure if you guys have this, but when your boss is asked you, I think he asked me recently, where are you gonna be, and where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, 5 years. I'm like, 5 years. I see myself with like 1 million subscribers. What you mean? Not a million. Is it reconnecting? Oh. I'm not sure if the stream was disconnected there for a second. I wanted to make sure everything is good. Hope everything is good. Maybe I don't know if I cut off my time. But, he just asked me, hey, you're gonna, we're gonna do in 5 years. I'm like, well, I'm definitely trying to be, full-time animation for sure. But I had to say something else that was gonna have me keep my job. So, I couldn't say all that for sure, but I'm working on it. Okay. Are you planning to take some workshop like Anim School, Animation Mentor? I guess if I would take any of them, it wouldn't be Animation Mentor. There's another one. It's not there's another one. It's Anim School, Animation Mentor. I feel like there's one that does the games one. Is that Anim School? I'm sure Animation Mentor does it as well, but there's one that does games. It's cheaper than Animation Mentor. I'd probably do that if anything, but I would only want to do that once I'm once I'm doing this full time. I would want to go ahead and try to run a channel, trying to work with other people, because again, I'm doing animations for Band the Sun and things like that. Work full time, also have my family, and then go to school. I drive myself crazy. That just wouldn't make any sense. So I would probably wait until I at least didn't have a job to go. There he goes. I animate. Thank you. That's the one. Thank you, Jalen Green. That's the one I'd probably go to. I animate's probably the one. I really like the ways that they're I really like the ways that they do their games animation, or what the students have come up with. So it looks pretty good. Would you get more when you get more subs? Would you be inclined to work in a team to get more animations, or would you rather do everything yourself? That's a very good. Ian, first of all, let's talk about your questions. All right, let's talk about your questions. Your questions are on point. All right, got some good questions here. Absolutely. When I get more subs, would you be inclined to work in a team to get more animations, or would you rather do everything yourself? I know. I for sure would be inclined to. I wouldn't necessarily get a team. I probably, if anything, would assign. I would assign animations to people instead of first. That's what I probably do. Even though it probably work better where we work as a team, I'd probably have someone animate an animation completely while I take care of the tutorials, or I do something else. Just because I feel like there's more creative freedom that way. We work towards that, and maybe I'll critique it and push them to kind of do things like work with one person and then see how it works, and eventually have certain people do it, just because depending on, again, this is obviously, I'm not saying now, this definitely could change, but depending on what their goals are, if they want to work with a team, maybe I can think about it, but I would probably try to build, if I were to, of course, if Roundtable Studios were to go this way, I'd probably like to use it to build animators to use maybe the channel as like a platform where they can gain experience and then jump off to do something else of their own. Like, I wouldn't want to have someone come in and be like, okay, well, you work for me now, and that's it. I would kind of like, I don't mind, again, this is me speaking now, of course, I don't mind bringing people who are learning. Of course, you need to have some skill, though, like, don't get it twisted. You need to have some skill, though. You'd be learning, and then learn what you need to learn, get really, get good, and then eventually, and then, if you want to do your own thing, you can do your own thing. But that would probably be my my kind of flow about it. That's what I envisioned. Just because I think that would be cool. Because that was something that I would want. Hey, can I just, work on some animations? You give me some critique. I have some potential, and then almost like an internship, and then you move on to something else, or you can stay. It's fine with me. But yeah. Fanbase, how do you manage to animate while maintaining a full-time job? I often find myself animating for 3-4 hours at a time, considering I have a family and work for time. How do you do it? That's a very good question. I'm still trying to figure that out to this day. I would say it's a lot of time management. What I would say, it's a lot of scheduling. Let's see. How can I what my actual schedule is? Right now, I think for today, if I was to talk about today as in today, this is the first time, it's considering this whole day has passed, because for me it's night. This is probably the first time I've touched Maya all day today. Mostly I did a lot of my full-time job today, maybe a lot of planning, like scripting out like what I'm going to be doing, but What I've done in the past is usually left my animation for the weekends or the evenings and kind of just not watch TV shows. So it's kind of working full time and then working on animation. So not really playing video games, not really watching TV shows, not really doing any of that. So I know it sounds kind of boring because it's like, damn, you don't get to relax. And that's kind of what I've been doing. The time I relax is the time I spend with my family, whether if we're eating dinner or if we're just kind of watching a movie. Like if I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a movie because I'm spending time with my family. I'm not ever watching a movie by myself. It's just not gonna happen. I don't have the time. It's just not like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna watch this movie real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and chill out real quick. It's just not feasible to do. So I just particularly just try to do everything family time. If it's not family time, then we're gonna be animating because there's a lot of stuff to do. I'm not there where I want to be yet. Where I'm animating full time, so I have a lot of work to do to go ahead and make that happen. So let's see, boom, 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 good. So it looks a little fast, but yeah, it's good. Let's see. I'm a former student of 2, did game workshop. I'm a former student of 2. Former student of 2 of them did game workshop 0 to 2. How was it? How did you like it? Actually, let me know. I've actually never spoken to someone who went to one of those, so I'd be very, very curious to find out, how it was for you. I may just hit this last pose and then I would be gone. This might be the end of the stream. I'm gonna keep you guys too long, and while I'm doing this last pose, be sure to guys, if you guys are an animator and you're really interested in this animation contest where we can possibly win a free critique, definitely sign up on the Discord. I'm going to be asking them probably tomorrow morning when I wake up about it. If they're interested, definitely going to hit that up, and that'd be very, very fun for me to go ahead and to come up with it. So let's get this pose. You probably get asked this a lot, but how did you come with your channel name? Ian, first of all, no. That's probably the second time someone's asked me that. What I do get asked a lot is, what program do I use? That is what I get asked every day. But no, you come with these solid questions, my man, for sure. I know I usually don't ask for the subscribe to the channel. It's personal. Subscribe to the channel and keep asking me these great questions, so you could keep following me in the stream. It's a cool guy. But you probably get asked a lot. No, so how I came up with Roundtable Studios. It's what happened to my music? It's loading. Weird. Anyway, so what how I came up with it is obviously the lore with Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right? So when I was in college, a couple of me and my friends, we kind of, I'm not, depending on, how old you guys are, but when you're in college, it's a very interesting time. And a lot of us were from New York. A lot of us were from New York. So if you guys are not familiar with the United States, New York is a state. And I went to college in a different state, completely away from our families, things like that. So anytime we needed each other or we needed anything, we kind of were just a tight-knit group, or tight-knit everything was just kind of cool. We actually I referred to them, as kind of like my round table, only because, and it sounds weird to say this, and I don't know if much friend groups are like this, but depending on like the situation that we were in, some groups have like that alpha where it's like, oh, okay, cool, they're like the quote unquote like the guy of the group that they, where the party is with them, or if like, they lead everything or things like that. I don't know. I know it may sound corny, but I feel like a lot of times groups are like that. But I feel like with our friends, it wasn't. Like you could hang out with any person from the pack by ourselves. So like say like, hey, this person wants to do this, or they would hang out with that. So it kind of felt like we all were friends with each other. Now we were all just friends with the one person. So I referred it to the group as like the round table. Anytime we needed anything, we would always just, everyone always support each other. No one had any beef or any animosity to each other or anything like that. So when I've always just called my group of friends that. So when it was time for me to come up with a channel name, Roundtable was not the first thing I came up with. I came up with something like really extra, or blazing hot studios, or fire animations, something that didn't really make any sense. And what led me to Roundtable Studios was because I eventually wanted to create like a culture where we all felt like, we're pretty much cooperative in creating the content. So I like a lot of my content to be fan based, right? Like I like to where it's fan voted, where it's like you guys are interacting and you guys are, influencing a lot of stuff that I currently make on the channel. So it wasn't just like, oh, okay, cool, it's just me, and then that's just it. The same way, where I think you just asked me about if bringing out other animators on the channel, I would kind of make them just, oh no, you guys could just do it yourself. It's not necessarily like, okay, I'm the lead and you guys know, you would just, lead it yourself, and then you have full control, full creativity on the animation. So I've always kind of imagined it like that. I'm like, okay, that'd be a cool, dope idea in the future. And it's dope because it has lore and swords and stuff like that. So it's also very good for animation. But that's a very, very long story on how I figured out my channel name. I need to probably make that story a lot shorter in the future. So when I actually greatest man, I love serial level up and everything. The teachers are crazy dope and actually care, don't pull punches though. Yeah, I figure. They do an amazing job of breaking down any error you have, fixing the bad habit, and then giving you industry standard solutions. Yeah, that was exactly what I expect. I went to animation school, and though it felt at the time that they weren't pulling punches, based on my demo reel and what they let me graduate with a degree in versus what other schools, especially online schools, let you are graduating, like the students who are graduating, it's not even close. Not even close. So it's like, man, like I really wish like my university kind of pushed us more or gave us more tools, or maybe I don't know if I had the better teachers or something. I just feel like we definitely overpaid for the quality of education that we received, which kind of sucks, unfortunately, because animation mentor is like what, not even like a tenth. It's like a tenth of the price than a university, here in America, and it's just sad that we have to pay so much for this type of education that didn't really lead us anywhere. A lot of the tips and tricks that I found animating is definitely due to me doing it here on the channel on my own experience, and not from school. That's for sure. Why don't you animate for Death Battle? That's a very good question. I did animate to their DBXs, but the way Death Battle works is that you are a contractor. They hire you for a specific animation, and then once you're done, you're not really hired. You're not really, guaranteed another animation. So they recently, I think starting last year, I believe, they started changing their format, or maybe this year, right? They started changing their format where they are not doing, at least not to my knowledge, doing DBXs, where they are kind of keeping everything more in-house. They're kind of making everything more streamlined for Death Battle and things like that. So, because they used to work with a lot of, they outsourced a lot of animators online for different things, and now, to my understanding, a lot of those people are in Texas, or they're working with them so they can get to them directly. So they're not really necessarily outsourcing as much as what I've seen anymore, at least to my knowledge, at least from what it looks like. Man, I ran into that same struggle. I just so happened to win a trip to CTN, and I really got that reel on everything I did, and I animate in college at the same time. Nice, man. Yeah, I imagine that was definitely a eye-opening experience. All right, but I think that will be it, guys. I know we're having so much fun here in the stream. I actually had a really good time on the stream. Definitely one of the one better ones, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. What I will do is, right now, it's Wednesday morning here. What I will do is I'll try to keep more updates on my channel about. Let's keep running the animation here at the same time. The Green Ranger and Wonder Man animation is coming out clean. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I'll try to get more animations on coming on my channel about when the next live stream, stuff like that. But expect them to be coming out more regularly. But yeah, but this is it. This is what we had on the right here. It's just a lot of blocking, nothing necessarily nothing cleaned yet. It's just a lot of hitting the poses and hitting the timing. So thank you guys for coming into the stream. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys stick around for the next one. I will see you guys. Peace.